Good evening, everybody. Welcome to episode 5 of the Question Chronicles, where we ask each other questions, do some research off camera, and come back the next week to give you a better answer than hopefully we gave before. This episode, New Year, New Us, will be uploaded to YouTube.
You mean New Year, same us. It'll be uploaded to YouTube Sunday night.
That's right. At our scheduled upload time that definitely was talked about beforehand.
Whether it's your most recent hyperfixation or you just want someone else to look it up for you, we're here to help. Maybe. And also, my camera is still fuzzy. I don't know what's happening.
You gotta hit it with the hand thing.
I'm trying to hit it with the... Oh, wait. No, we did it. We're good. Okay, I'm here. And, oh, there's a blanket in my background. Hold on. Let me...
My background's just curtains, so same thing.
Out?
No, it's not out. It's still there.
Closed. Okay, there we go.
That's close enough.
This is my water cup.
That one's allowed. Hydrate or die.
Hydrate or dihydrate. That's what they say.
So kicking right off into it, you answered first last week, so I will answer first this week.
True. I did answer first last week.
You had asked me about Subnautica, a game I still haven't played, and likely won't. I'm really bad at these games. I just get sidetracked in all the random odds and ends to do. And you asked me about why can't you escape the planet when you get the escape pod? And I said probably because there's a resource you can't get to. And you gave me like a kind of yeah, but it's not really.
That's like the meta reason.
Yeah, that's it's technically true, but not like really true.
Yeah.
So what I learned in boning school is there is a quarantine enforcement platform that you have to disable before you can use the escape rocket. And in order to disable that platform, you have to cure yourself of the Kara. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Which is an infectious disease. I think accidentally created by the precursors, who were the people who used to inhabit the planet.
Mm-hmm.
But in order to cure yourself of the Kara, you have to get a hatching enzyme from the Sea Empress Leviathan, who communicates with you telepathically throughout the game.
True.
And you have to hatch the new Sea Emperors in order to use their enzyme, which I think is called Enzyme 42, to create a cure for Kara.
The secret to everything. 42.
That's right.
Yeah, that is all accurate. It should be noted that the Sea Empress, I don't think she's the one who cures anything. She just makes sure that her children hatch and then they go cure everything.
Yes, the enzyme is from the newly hatched babies.
Yeah.
And the reason the precursors couldn't figure it out before is because they were forcibly removing the babies from the eggs, which kills them.
Yeah, there's kind of a tough scene right at the end where you find their research facility, where they're taking the eggs and removing them, and then like at the bottom of that is where you find the Sea Empress, and she's just like, "Please help,
help me."
Help me. Yeah.
There were a couple interesting things I found in doing this, that you can actually cure Kara and disable the quarantine enforcement platform before the sunbeam tries to come save you.
Yes.
And if that happens, they just tell you there's too much orbital debris and they can't save you.
Yeah. So to put a little bit of context in there, there's a place you find like probably halfway through the game in terms of playtime, depending on how well you know the beginning of the game. You can get there in like 10 minutes if you wanted. But there's a place you go, and it's not the research facility. It's where they have the like turret that shoots down aircrafts so that they can keep their quarantine protocol up.
Okay.
And there's just a straight up cutscene where you get to this island, the sunbeam tries to save you, and you watch the sunbeam get shot out of the sky. And honestly, kind of metal.
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I did see spoiled myself on the after credits, like the post game,
Mm-hmm.
of what happens afterwards a little bit.
Oh yeah, how
when you escape,
that's
and
not a
you're just in
spoiler.
permanent debt.
Yeah, that's not a spoiler. Everyone knows.
So
about
very
that.
valuable for, I'm sure, many people.
Yeah. Good
So
work.
hopefully that sufficiently answers your question from last week. Much better than don't have a resource.
That is better. The resource in question, I believe, is also lithium.
Okay.
I could be wrong on that, but you have to like get a certain amount of, I think it's lithium, to build the thing that gets you deep enough to where you can get to the research facility in what is lovingly referred to as the Deep Dark Down. There's an actual word for it in the game, but my friends and I call it the Deep Dark Down because it's deep, it's dark, and it's down.
Understandable. It's clear and to the point.
Yeah. Okay, this week I have a game adjacent question for you.
Okay.
And it's kind of, it's like important to the gaming community, but it's not about a game. So
All right.
there is a game engine called Unity. I'm sure you've heard of it.
Yeah.
And Unity right now is having an exodus. A lot of people are leaving Unity and switching to other engines. And my question for you is, why are people leaving the Unity game engine en masse and moving to other game engines?
Well, I don't know if there's a new reason, but I know some months ago, maybe even like a year ago at this point, they released a new user agreement, terms of service type thing, where they basically had the rights to whatever game was made with the engine. Something similar to that, so you had to give like a profit sharing to them for using the engine, I believe. So I would guess that we're kind of just seeing the exodus from that point.
I was really
when
scared.
it comes out, it's going to be Oh, go ahead.
I was really scared you were about to get it completely right, but you're close, but not quite.
Okay, so if there's more to it.
Yeah, there's more to it. What you said isn't wrong, but that's not actually the main reason people are trying to leave.
Sweet. Yeah, I haven't heard anything else about it.
Yeah.
So I'll be excited to see it there.
Mm-hmm. And people are switching primarily to either Godot or Unreal or some of the many other engines.
Yeah, Unreal 5's looking pretty good.
Yeah, a lot of people love Unreal because its lighting system is straight up revolutionary.
Yeah.
But it's getting to the point where Unity and Godot also are getting like good ray traced lighting systems.
Yeah.
And so the gap is closing very quickly.
Yeah, I think the need for Unreal also is going to be a little slow on the catch up. I know artistic design and like artistic direction. There's the word I'm looking for.
Mm-hmm.
Artistic direction in games has kind of been a talking point recently. Where yeah, sure, it can look really good and look almost realistic, but then I can just look at any game and they all look the same, and that's not really great to identify what a game is or have a unique visual.
Yeah, like unique IP is becoming, I don't want to say obsolete, but it's like kind of a thing of the past, which is,
yeah.
I think we're going to see a swing back in the other direction soon, because as a bunch of AAA games come out, there's normally a lull in between the next season of a bunch of AAA games coming out, and then we see a ton of indie darlings. Things like Undertale, or Played Up, or Lethal Company. Things like that are like independently developed, don't take as long, because AAA games take a long time. They're massive. And even just drawing the characters, that's like 6 months of work.
Yeah.
Whereas like Lethal Company probably pooped out that game, and I mean, it was probably like a year of development, but
yeah.
Like you think about Monster Hunter Wilds, one of the new AAA games that's coming out, I think this year. Yeah.
I'm glad you said something, because that's actually what I was going to talk to you about later.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
Yeah. Be excited.
I'm real excited now. But like Monster Hunter Wilds, that game's been in development for 3 or 4 years, probably.
Yeah. You talk about games like Ashes of Creation?
Yeah.
Been in development for 8 years. It's only hitting its Alpha 2 relatively recently.
Mm-hmm. And that's what I mean. Like those AAA games take forever.
Yeah.
And like Undertale was built, I think, in 6 months, and that's like, yeah, Stardew Valley never mind. Stardew Valley took like 12 years, but that's because the creator... he has said this himself, so I don't feel bad saying this. The creator himself, Matt Barone, was not doing things correctly. He was like, if you go and make a game, do not under any circumstances do the stuff that I did, please. Because he like made his own engine from scratch, which that's fine if you need to do it. Like, do you know what Noita is?
No.
Okay, so Noita's like a game that looks a lot like Terraria, except every single pixel on the screen is a physics object, so like gravity works on every single pixel.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and there is not a game engine that does that well. So Noita built the Falling Everything engine, aptly named, for that game. But Matt Barone was making a farm sim. There were softwares and game engines that he could have used, but he built the whole thing himself. I think in never mind. I'm not going to say the coding language and then flame myself later for it.
Good. We're learning here. We're evolving.
Okay, I believe it's my turn now.
It sure is.
So last week you asked me in Quest 64 what caused the Day of Grief and what happened because of it. And I'm not going to go too far into my answer from last week because it was long. If you want to find it, go on YouTube, look at the upload, or go find us on Spotify.
That's true.
But it was basically, I thought that the Day of Grief was someone dying and then being resurrected during the Day of the Dead. And the main character had to go on a hunt to find some kind of thing. And they were accompanied by this person who had died during the Day of Grief. But what actually is the Day of Grief is someone stole a book by the name of the Elltale Book, and because he stole that book, the town of where is it? Of Celtland? How do you say that?
That's a great question.
I'm going to assume it's like Celtic and say Celtland. Because it's Celt.
Yeah, that's fair.
So the city of Celtland was housing the Elltale Book, and then some mage came along and stole the book. Or I guess the guy who stole it wasn't a mage, he was just a straight up thief. Unclear. Vague at best.
Right. Yeah.
And then when that happened, undescribed horrors plagued the town of Celtland. Cities disappeared overnight. I'm reading this from Wikipedia, I think. Or maybe it's... I didn't write down my source. Naughty. Cities disappeared overnight. Once great fields became barren wastelands. Almost all hope was lost. And then during that time, the book was used to access the world of Mamoon. And I'll be honest, that's not incredibly important for the question. But, so that's what caused it. Someone stole the book. What happened because of it is these undescribable horrors to the town of Celtland. And the protagonist of the game is then introduced. His name is Brian. And he's kind of doing like Gon is doing in Hunter x Hunter. He's like, my dad was a cool dude, and he left. I'm gonna go find him real quick.
Good comparison.
And then Brian ends up basically doing every single side quest and fighting God.
Yeah.
That's the progression of the game.
You do.
Yeah. And eventually he finds out about the Elltale Book, and he's like, well, I have to get this back before it falls into the wrong hands, because the book was already used for evil. It will be used for evil again if it falls into the wrong hands. And for some reason, the 9-year-old apprentice mage Brian is the correct hands.
True.
And then
I don't know who else you would have sent.
Who knows? Maybe that's where his dad went. Side note, as far as I could find out, he never finds his dad.
I think that's my understanding too. There's things that happen off screen with his dad.
Yeah.
That are just conveyed in dialogue somewhere.
Gotcha. And so, eventually, the game ends. He fights God, beats God, the game ends, and then nondescript things happen with his father.
Yeah. It's one of those classic like older games, and it's part of why I think Quest 64 never took off like Final Fantasy, where there's just not a lot of storytelling going on.
And I saw a lot of the like reviews I was looking at were just like, just save your money and buy Zelda. Do not waste your time on this game. But like, I don't know, man. The art kind of looked compelling.
It is a pretty unique style, and the way that combat works, it puts you in this weird like polygon grid that forms awkwardly to the ground, and you can like move around and use your magic, or the way you run away is like spending your whole turn actively running away, and you have to get outside of the little polygon.
Yes, disengaging, as they say in the business.
Yep. It was it's one of those games I played when I was young, back in 1940, and
when the first Atari came out.
Yeah, but was never good at. It was one of those types of things that like you play the game when you're a kid, and like looking back, you're like, wow, that's really easy.
Yeah, stand by for the Legend of the Black Buccaneer stream.
I'm waiting.
I decided on that. I'm gonna take a Saturday, probably. Wake up at like, I don't know, noon probably. I'm not gonna lie to you. And we're gonna do a marathon stream, and I'm not gonna stop streaming until that game is 100%ed.
Nice. IGN says 7 hours.
I don't believe it. There's no way.
I guess we'll find out. I hope for your sake it is 7 hours, because if you're committing now to 100%ing the game in the one sitting,
I mean, it won't.
And then it turns into.
It won't
16.
take me longer than 20 hours, and as long as I do it on a Saturday, I'm not gonna feel mad about finishing it at like 4 a.m. on Sunday. Now, the viewers on my Twitch channel might be a little bit upset that they're sitting there for 20 hours watching me play a game that's allegedly bad.
Allegedly.
I refuse to say that it's bad. I have too many good memories.
You can go write its good review and be the lone defender on your hill.
No thanks, I'm good. I will say, whenever I would play that game, the title animations, like the old console games would have all of the developers' names at the front?
Yeah.
The Widescreen Games was the publisher of that game. And when I tell you their intro was the loudest thing I had ever heard, I had to mute the game until I got to the actual menu. Because
when the THX logo comes in.
Yeah, it would be like, Bandai Namco, Activision, Widescreen Games!
Yep.
And then the menu would pop up, and my mom would be like, dude, turn down the TV. And I'd be like, no, it's I promise you it's just that 5 seconds that is horrifically
Mom,
loud.
It's quiet now.
But Mom, they're supposed to be yelling. It's anime.
Legend of the Black Buccaneer anime win. If you petition it enough and convince people it's a good game, with your marathon stream of 100%ing it, maybe you can get a live action adaptation.
I don't know if I would watch a live action adaptation of that movie. It would just be Pirates of the Caribbean. That's all it would end up being.
Legally distinct, of course.
Legally ambiguous, more like.
All right, so you ready for your next question?
I'm ready for my next question.
So, one of our friendship building games.
Oh no.
Is Super Smash Brothers.
True. We did friend over that.
And while I don't know where your experience with the game started, mine started with Super Smash Brothers.
Like 64?
64.
The first game I ever played was Melee, but the first game that I played seriously was when I got to college, and it was Smash 4.
Yeah. I think about same here, other than the first game. So in that game, you start with 8 playable characters, and you can unlock 4 more, much different than our current roster. So of those 4 you can unlock, you got Luigi, who you have to clear all the break the target stages with. You have to clear all 8 original characters, break the target stage, and then you have to beat Luigi in battle with whoever your last person was.
Okay.
And to get Captain Falcon, you have to clear Classic mode in 20 minutes or less without any continues, and then beat Captain Falcon after Master Hand. Considered one of the hardest battles. I would probably agree with that. Captain Falcon's crazy. And so the other 2 characters are some of our beloved characters, and my question to you is, what do you have to do to unlock Jigglypuff and Ness?
Oh wow, that's funny. Ness is... It's hard because Luigi and Captain Falcon were unrelated to their games.
Yeah, none of them are related, if that helps.
Yeah, I figured. One of them I'm sure is just like play enough battles.
Okay.
I'm gonna assign that one to Jigglypuff. I'm gonna say play,
Okay.
I don't know, 500 battles. That's probably a lot. Play 200 battles.
Okay.
And then Jigglypuff, you have to beat her afterwards, whoever wins the match.
Okay.
What were all the modes in that game? You said definitely Classic was one. Like
There was
Classic.
Classic mode, there was Break the Targets,
Mhm.
I think you had the Home Run contest in that, maybe. I could be wrong about that one. And then you had the, like, I forget what it was called, but it was just, like, non-stop. They would send the enemies that died in
like
one hit at you.
100-man rush or whatever.
Yeah. I just forget what it was called in Smash 64.
Okay. I'm gonna say the Infinity Man thing. You've got to last for like, let's say 20 minutes, and then you have to beat Ness with whoever.
Okay.
That's just like a bit of trivia.
Yeah. I
like
loved
it.
rereading about this because it made me realize how bad we were at Smash when we got Smash 64, because some of this was really hard to do.
And everyone online was like, this is cake.
Well, I mean, I didn't look online for anything at that time because I was the internet wasn't around yet, and
No, I mean like
Our
today
gateway
you look
was-
at it.
oh, and yeah, today I'm sure I could go back even and have a great time with it and be very easy.
Mhm.
I'd probably unlock all the characters just like naturally playing the game based on how I play the current Smash, and
You would.
yeah, like three stocks I think is part of the thing for something like in Melee.
Mhm.
Like they get restrictive in Melee with a lot more things, so there's way more characters. But the thing you mentioned about the multiple battles, I know there's one in Melee that's like 500 battles, I think, or 200 or 100,
Yeah, I think it's Mewtwo.
and then the winner has to fight the character. And I always thought that was such like a a BM move of like, congratulations, you're the best player in your circle. Now you can unlock the character or don't.
That was 100% Mewtwo because we lost
Okay.
a lot of matches to Mewtwo.
It's like, it's on your
Occasionally-
friend's console, and you gotta throw the Mewtwo match so that they never get to unlock Mewtwo.
Well, at one point, like, he and I both couldn't unlock Mewtwo. And so we were both just like, we both were not trying to win the match so that we didn't have to face Mewtwo at the end of it and just get bodied in front of each other.
And you're just sitting there, the pressure's on. Everyone's around you, just watching, and you got to unlock the character. And if you don't, it's embarrassing.
Yeah, 100%.
You get to be a winner and then a loser all in the span of about 10 minutes.
Yeah. Alrighty. So you said you have some friendship games for me.
Friendship games. Yeah, that's Super Smash Bros. We'll go play Smash Bros. End podcast. It's over. We're gonna go boot up the switches.
We're gonna go boot up the Switch. Tune in.
All right. So you had mentioned it before, Monster Hunter Wilds. This is a game I know you are much more familiar with than I am.
I mean, not at this point.
My intro, not the new one, but my intro being in Rise. I think all the way in Sunbreak, or whatever that was called.
I think you bought. We played after Sunbreak was out because we went straight from the normal one into the other one. But there's nothing that you got from Sunbreak that wasn't in the original game.
Right. But I think Sunbreak is when I got the game.
Yeah, that's what I mean. But it's still like the same game.
Just a timeline thing of how recently I've played, and I didn't play very much past that. I played a little bit in the new Rise thing that I can't even remember the name of, but not
That's
very much.
Sunbreak.
Sunbreak, that's what I meant. Sunbreak is what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So wanted to talk about Monster Hunter Wilds. Saw a speculated or anticipated release date of February 28th, 2025.
True.
Definitely supposed to release this year is what's been announced, so that's at least a good thing. Ideally earlier. So there's a couple features in Wilds that people are particularly excited about, and I wanted to gauge your thoughts on, being more versed with Monster Hunter games.
Yes.
Especially more versed with Monster Hunter World.
Yeah, the game is planning on February 28th, and Capcom normally doesn't lie. So I would say February 28th is probably a good day. Like, it will be released on that day.
The only reason it might not would be development issues. I know the beta had some issues with graphical problems, but I'd like to think they fixed all that up.
But they would probably release the game even with it broken, though, and then just hotfix it.
Fair. So the first thing I wanted to bring up was, and I've only got two things in here, and we can talk about, specifically related to Monster Hunter, and then as well as thoughts on this in general gaming. Mm-hmm. But it's supposed to have a seamless open world.
Oh, yeah. So what they mean by that is, how we would be in the camp in Rise, and then we would have to go through UI to get to a mission?
Yeah.
So the goal of the seamless open world, quote unquote, very big quote unquote, is you're in the camp, you select a mission, you walk out of the gate, the mission starts. As opposed to you having to get on one of those, like, way rights? Oh, what are they called? The little dragon guys. I forget what they're called right now.
Oh, I have no idea. It beats me.
But when you leave for a mission and you, like, throw a rope up and catch the leg of, like, that Drake thing?
Yeah.
That's just not going to happen. You're going to walk out of the camp and be in the mission.
Okay.
Honestly, I don't think that's a good move. Because the way that it was described to me in the way I just described it to you, and if that's true, then the map situation is going to be rough. Because there are like 6 or 7 maps in Rise and World that are completely different from one another.
Yeah.
And I think we might end up with a situation where, let's say I have an ice monster I'm fighting and I have to go to the ice land. But to get to the ice land, I have to travel through the desert, the grasslands, and the forest. And so to even start the mission, I'm walking 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Whereas in Rise and World, you spawn in the land you're going to fight the monster, and you might have to walk a little bit if it's on like the really far other side of the map. But in general, the walking simulator time is small.
Right. And I think this can be kind of overcome with like fast travel waypoints, but that kind of defeats the purpose of a seamless open world if you're taking a loading screen to get into the open world and then another one just to get to where you want to go.
Yeah, I was about to say at that point it's not a seamless open world.
Right. So what are your thoughts on kind of open world in other games? Skyrim, Fallout, most MMOs?
Yeah. I think it's fine as long as... Ironically, I'm about to say something weird. I think it's fine as long as there's a fast travel system.
Yeah, I think I'd agree. As long as there's a way to get around that's not walk.
Yeah.
Is usually ideal.
Yeah. Because, like, if you walk from Markarth to Riften in Skyrim, the most western point to the most eastern point, that's like 2 hours in real life. It's probably not actually 2 hours. It's probably like 15 minutes. But still, that's
I don't even think Skyrim's the same size as a lot of the games coming out now. Like, I think I'm going to have to search it right now.
Square footage of Ashes of Creation.
Yeah, this has been a big talking point in MMOs specifically. Like, I think Throne and Liberty talked about it. Black Desert Online talked about it. Mm-hmm. In-game size of 480 square kilometers.
What does that even mean?
Oh, sorry, land of 480 square kilometers. So, like, equivalent to your person's size.
Yeah, I gotcha. So, I do want to talk about something else, though. So
For reference, Skyrim is 15 square miles.
So that's like
38 kilometers.
38. Trying to do quick
And
math
Ashes of
in my head.
Creation is 480.
So
over 10 times the size of Skyrim's map.
Here's the thing, though. I am okay with an open world without a fast travel system if the entire map is not needed for the gameplay. And so Ashes of Creation does not have a fast travel system, but it is significantly more sandboxy. It's not like Skyrim, where you're doing a quest in Riften, someone in Riften gives you a quest you have to go to Solitude for, and then you have to walk 3 years to get there.
Right.
A great example of this is Minecraft. Minecraft is a game with no fast travel that is an open world game. However, you don't need the whole world. Like, eventually, you need to find the stronghold to kill the Ender Dragon, and that's fine. And that's a little bit of a walk, but by then you have a horse, and you might have a minecart track built, and, like, you're not just doing walking simulator. And even if you are, the world in Minecraft, chances are high the stronghold doesn't spawn far enough from where you set up that it's a problem.
Yeah. I think the recent craze of open world is actually detrimental. I think there's a lot of gamers who don't really want to be spending the time to walk across a 480 kilometer squared map. Not to pick on Ashes of Creation, because I think it'll be great. I'm hoping it'll be great. God, it'd be so cool to have another cool MMORPG. But
and I think that's, I was about to go somewhere, and you kind of got me there yourself. I think a lot of the new Zelda games aren't good. I know. Crazy. But, like, Breath of the Wild's too big. Tears of the Kingdom, too big. And I think you see that in sales. Like, obviously, IGN and the critics, because there's a MMO bubble, or a open world bubble right now, put like 98%, 100% on a lot of the open world stuff that's coming out with good IP. But I think you see in sales that Breath of the Wild did not do as well as Ocarina of Time. And I don't think that there's going to be another Zelda game in the current format of what they're trying to do that's going to do as well as Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, some of the more retro games.
Yeah, you can even see it creeping into like Fire Emblem with the last two entries in the series, or the last two of the last three, I guess, because I didn't play Fire Emblem 3 Fates.
3 Houses?
No, 3 Houses is a different one. That's why I said 3. So 3 Fates is like a Dynasty Warriors-esque game.
Ooh, Dynasty Warriors.
But so you have 3 houses where you have the open, not really like a full open world, but you have the exploration aspect of the monastery and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And you travel around the map, which I think is more fine. But then you have Engage, which tries to do a similar thing with the Somnio and post-map conversations. And I think this kind of detracts from some of the Fire Emblem experience of, let's go into the next mission, let's manage our resources, and it kind of gamifies resource management in a way that's uncharacteristic for the series.
Yeah, I can see that. Okay, so you have another mechanic you want to talk about, right? Seamless open world was the first one. What's the second one?
Yes. Dynamic weather and environmental interactions.
I mean, what does that even mean? There are so many games with weather. Like that. When I did read this too, and I was like, so it's going to rain sometimes? And they were like, yeah. And I was like, okay. Minecraft rains?
Yeah.
Animal Crossing rains when it rains at your house.
Yep.
The weather in the game matches the weather in real life, which I learned that the other day, and I was like, that is so cool.
Yeah. I think dynamic weather is a really cool thing for games to have, because it adds to just like kind of the immersion, as weird as that says, because I know I'm not someone who flips through the air and attacks monsters, but
and I have no problem with dynamic weather, but it feels a little bit like how Apple releases a new iPhone and they're like, we added another camera, and it's like, dude, we had 67 cameras on the last phone, we didn't need one more.
Yeah.
It's like, if that's the only version control that's there in between the models, I don't think I even care about the newer model. And I'm not saying I don't care about Wilds, because there's a lot of things in Wilds that I am looking forward to, like new monsters, new mission types, new weapon tune-ups, etc., etc. But like a lot of the things that they're trying to make the selling points, I'm like, why? What are we doing here?
Yeah. I think environmental interactions could be really cool. Like if it is raining, monsters slip.
Yeah. And that is cool. But I wish that they weren't marketing as like, sometimes it rains and so that's why the game's $100.
And we'll buy it anyway, but I'm mad about it.
That's the thing, everyone's like, why are games $70? And I'm like, did you buy it? And they're like, yeah.
Yeah, of course.
You know? And it's like,
I will say, props to games for barely interacting with inflation.
That's true. The gaming industry was the Arizona Tea Company for a long time. AAA games have been $60 since we were kids. Well, since I was a kid.
It's been a long time since they were $50 once upon a time, but then they went up to 60, and that was like not that big of a deal. And they've just been 60 forever.
Yeah, and I do genuinely think a lot of that was kind of akin to shrinkflation. Do you know what shrinkflation is?
Describe it.
Okay, so shrinkflation is an economic concept where you give the consumer less, put it in the same packaging. It looks like they're getting the same amount and paying the same amount of money, even though, because of inflation and other economic factors, read corporate greed, they don't get mad about it. Welcome to our
anti-capitalist podcast.
Yeah, so a big one that was found out is like Jif peanut butter used to have a flat bottom. And then a few years ago, people were like, the bottom's rounded now. We're getting like 47% less peanut butter for the same price. And so the corollary to how this comes into games is back in ye olden times, whenever everyone had an Xbox 360, there was not a big digital download thing. You had to go to a retailer, because Amazon wasn't invented yet. I mean, it might have been, but it was a bookstore at that point. It wasn't the monolith that it is today. And so you had to go to a retailer, probably GameStop or Walmart or something.
Best Buy.
Yeah. You had to go somewhere like that, buy a copy of the game physically, put the disc into your system, download the updates, play the game. And so from the corporate end, they have to pay for distribution to get the games into those warehouses. They have to pay for the packaging. They have to pay for the discs to get made. They have to pay for the machinery that prints the games onto the discs. Like, there's a lot of hidden costs in that. And now, like, with the exception of Nintendo, almost all games are digital downloads. Like, even, like, you go and play an Xbox Series S, you're buying Black Ops 6 the day of and digital downloading it. You're not going to GameStop and pre-ordering it in a month in advance to sit in a line for 3 days and wait to go pick up the game on release day.
Or you pre-order the digital deluxe collector's edition that comes with a physical box of goodies to get you, but then you open it all up and there's no physical case. It's just a game code on a box.
Yeah.
Not speaking from personal experience or anything. No way. That couldn't be me.
Yeah. And personally, I have a computer, and then I keep up with whatever the latest Nintendo console is, which is right now the Switch. And whenever possible, I try to buy cartridges because storage space is a premium, and I'd rather buy the cartridge for the same amount of money than buy an SD card for however much it costs to put in my Switch. But that's beside the point.
Yeah.
I think for a while, the game industry was eating the costs of inflation and like higher wages and higher blah, 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 because they were significantly lowering their distribution costs and expenses that way, because now everything's a digital download. And so a lot of people look and are like, yeah, games have been $60 for 15 years. And I'm not saying that games should have risen in price, because
I hope you're not saying that. Games should never rise in price.
Yeah,
go down in price.
Well, there are more people gaming now than ever before. And so therefore the demand is higher. And since you have an infinite supply because everything's a digital download, your profits are going to go up anyway, because every single day there's a new gamer invented. Whether it's through birth or through some gamer guy marrying some girl and being like, you want to play Battlefield?
And she's like, no, but I'll do it.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden Battlefield has another diehard fan.
I also think you had a lot of the inflation costs coming with the upped hardware in consoles. Like the PS5 was like $500, and I think the 360 was like 150, 200
Yeah.
at the high end.
100%.
And I know I don't think consoles are where, Sony or Microsoft are making their money. I'm sure it's in Xbox Game Pass or PlayStation Plus and digital downloads. But definitely those prices have gone up.
Yeah, they're probably just about breaking even on the consoles. I think the consoles are probably like a loss leader for them. And
Yeah.
for those who don't know, a loss leader is something you're willing to make not a whole ton of money on to get people in the door to buy their things. So people would buy an Xbox Series S for maybe a little bit of a profit margin, but then they go buy all the Halo games that are Xbox exclusives, and Microsoft makes a ton of money.
Yep. There's been a lot of speculation that Microsoft is kind of buying Blizzard as a loss leader because World of Warcraft is such a big IP, and the game definitely makes money. But you got StarCraft, you have Hearthstone, Heroes of the Storm.
Hold on,
Diablo.
say that one again about with the cards.
What?
Say that one again with the cards. What word did
Hearthstone?
you just say it again?
Hearthstone.
Bro, it's Hearthstone. What the heck?
I would know. I've played World of Warcraft with my Hearthstone for 20 years.
So what's that thing in your house that burns fire? Not a fireplace, but
It's blocked up.
You disgust me. You and your
I don't think anyone would use that word anyway. They just say fireplace.
Yeah, probably.
But anyway,
you and your Midwest accent.
A lot of those games and IPs aren't really making huge money. Warcraft Rumble.
Yeah, I think a lot of problem right now, especially, is almost everyone is moving away from live service games.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. I don't know if I agree with this, but not a whole ton of people want to pay a monthly premium to play a game. Which, I'm okay with a monthly premium to play a game as long as I'm getting that amount of value from the game. Because, I could pay $15 a month to play WoW. Or I could go buy a $15 game every month and have fun. And if I'm not getting a month of fun, well, first of all, I have to be getting the month of fun from WoW. And then...
Yeah. And not all live service games are subscription based.
Yeah.
But it's just that people don't like the idea that, the company's just done. Like they've decided to stop work on Genshin Impact. And now everyone is super angry because their constant updates and their, daily logins are now
meaningless.
Yeah, I mean it's all pixels anyway. But
it's all just
you create an attachment to the pixels.
Mm-hmm. It's all just switches flipping on and off.
That's right. It's all the crabs running Doom.
Yeah. Alrighty. Do you have another topic that is not Monster Hunter Wilds?
Oh no.
Oh, that was it? Okay.
I was I mean, I'm really excited for Monster Hunter. I'm new to the series of
New-ish.
upcoming games. I guess, yeah. I don't know how much there really has been outside of World and Rise.
And
the mobile game that's Pokemon Go, but Monster Hunter.
Yo, Monster Hunter Now? Game's legendary. Before Monster Hunter, there were before World, there were 4 other Monster Hunters.
Okay.
And, I know what I'm going to ask you about next week.
Don't you dare.
I'm going to ask you about it. It'll be a simple Google, but I have something in mind. We're going to have to get together sometime and finish Sunbreak, because I don't think you finished it.
No, I probably won't.
I'm going to make you.
Yeah, but before Wilds comes out, I've got so many other things to do.
I've got so many other World of Warcraft things to do.
Yeah, I got to get all my portals for the season. I got to get back and relearn how to play Death Knight because I haven't played in a while.
You're a degenerate.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of things Will has to do, I'm going to publicly announce it for you. Will is going to college.
That's right. I turned 18. I'm starting college.
Are you all signed up for that now?
Yep, I looked into my textbooks today, and I was all ready to be like, how do I pay for this? And all of them are available online
Let's go.
through the college's
Oh, you don't even have
website.
to do totally legal and ethical things to obtain them.
Absolutely. I don't even have to do legal and ethical things to get them.
Nice. Well,
There was a supplemental book for $39. Didn't even buy it.
you never really need that stuff.
Yeah. I might just, if the class is really interesting, I might just get the book, see what it's about.
No, you shouldn't buy it. There's
But that would be the legal and ethical thing to do.
No, what I mean is, like, if you find the content of that class interesting, there's nothing you can't learn on the internet for free.
Yes. But I like having books. I don't have like a bookshelf yet, you know? Wouldn't it be so cool if this was just like books?
Oh, yeah, I guess. I don't know how you would ever let natural light into your room then.
Well,
never mind. I don't know what I'm saying. You don't.
Our air conditioning unit is also right there, so in the summers I would need to move the bookshelf. But I could just rotate my desk.
True.
Or move it, put it somewhere else.
That makes sense. All right, well, good luck to you in college. I think we're all done here, right?
Yeah, we can wrap up a little early.
I don't know if it's early. I mean, 50 minutes is a pretty good runtime. I know we're probably
we're still hitting pretty close to our hour.
Yeah, we're probably like 4 or 5 minutes under because of the intro. We'll be all right.
Sure. We could also, we're our union mandated smoke breaks. We got to take those into account.
That's true. Man, union jobs are great. I don't have a union job, but a lot of my friends, even like the people who, because you think union job, you think like plumber, electrician, etc. But
yeah.
even some of my friends who are like school teachers, they're like, yeah, my union's great. And I'm like, you have a union? Like, I found out that there are a lot of jobs with unions that I did not know about before.
Yeah. It's always like such a weird thought when you find out that something is way more prevalent than you thought before.
Yeah.
I found that out like when you get into music. And it's like, I like this instrument. And then you find out that every single individual instrument has an international conference.
Yeah. That is a thing that happens, I guess. I mean, I think if you pick like trombone or tuba, don't they share a conference? Isn't there like a low brass conference?
There's trombone has its own ITA, and then tuba and euphonium has a combined one because
there it
the
is.
euphonium's not a real instrument.
True.
At me, anyone who says otherwise.
It's just the tenor tuba.
That's right. Like those types of things, like people who don't game or like aren't familiar with the gaming sphere probably would be mind blown that E3 was a huge thing.
Oh yeah, E3 is massive.
Yeah, or now we have the game awards and stuff.
The Steam Awards.
Yep, that all these things just exist in their own ecosystem, and you never think about it. Like fields of study having conferences and stuff like that. When I was younger, I never thought that. Once a year, every teacher in the entire world would get together and they had their international teaching conference.
Well, yeah, and it's wild because like you think about the Steam Awards. The Steam Awards, there's like, I don't know, 1 million or a couple of million people who probably watch that live. And like you hear that number and you're like, that's massive. And that's like less than 1% of the world population.
Yeah. We just cleared 8 billion, right? A little bit ago.
Did we?
I thought so.
Hold on.
Yeah, quick to Google.
Currently Googling. I don't think it was recent, but
it was recent.
We're sitting at 8.2 billion right now, which makes me think that it was not recent.
200 million people, that's like clap of a hand, snap of a finger. There's just so many things like that. And you have, such small fractions of percentages of people participating in these international events.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's crazy how, like, the magnitude of that is so big, but it's still just, like, a blip in the face of the whole world population.
Exactly. Like, millions of people voting for not Balatro. And
yeah,
an Astrobot, which I've never played.
I heard Balatro kind of got piped.
I love the from nothing story of Balatro just on the stage with, like, what, Baldur's Gate, Elden Ring.
Yeah, all the AAA games, and then it's like, hello, it's me, the poker roguelike.
I've actually been getting YouTube shorts that have perfectly highlighted how I feel about Balatro and how people I've talked to who haven't played it feel about it. Because I have not played Balatro.
Neither have I.
And it's like, oh, isn't that just like a card game? And then you're like, yeah, but it's like roguelike. You're like, huh, maybe I should buy it.
Oh, no. I have never said maybe I should buy it. I watched my friend play it, and I was like, I have enough games that I don't play.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure I would play it once and never play it again, but it's one of those things of like, how can it? I need to know, you know, like, what is it about Balatro?
You get. Like,
I've watched it. I watched the speed run at GDQ.
Oh, didn't GDQ just happen?
I bet it did. A GDQ.
Also, GDQ
Schedule.
is games done quick. It's like a speedrun convention.
Sunday, June. It looks like it already happened because we got the nope. That's the summer 2024 schedule. Why would you give me that?
How often does GDQ happen?
Every winter and every summer. Oh, it started 2 days ago.
Okay. I don't know. I feel like
Started
I was watching
1-5.
I feel like I was watching someone's live stream and they were talking about watching GDQ, and I was like,
Oh my god, I know what I'm doing for the rest of my week.
what, watching GDQ?
Watching GDQ. Super Metroid. Ending starting 9:55 p.m. on whatever date this is. Saturday, January 11th.
Is that like a... Is
That's
that a
the Save the
speedrun
Animals.
No, I know what Super Metroid is. Is GDQ just like a... I know it's a speedrun convention, but is it just like a competition? And like, how do they pick what games get spotlighted?
You can submit your game, I believe.
Gotcha.
So like, to pick randomly, Adef and Captain Domo would have submitted like, hey, can we do a race of Elden Ring? That's a DLC lockout bingo.
Mm-hmm.
Which are always interesting to watch. Or Elden Ring saxophone-controlled boss showcase by Dr. Duke.
Gotcha, okay.
So you would just submit like the SpongeBob SquarePants movie game, no pause storage.
And so
or,
basically,
you know,
if you
Nintendo
have
World.
any credibility as a speedrunner, you can be like, hey, I want to do something at GDQ. And the council, or whatever they're called, is like, yeah, we'll see about it. And then they
I don't think you even need to be like top 1 or 2 runners. I think usually this is like a community-driven thing of, hey, the Hitman Blood Money has like 10 people who run it on the side, and they want Alpha Brother to run it.
Mm-hmm.
And then they pick, you know, who's going to be commentating, who's on the couch, and that kind of stuff. And then they're just like, yeah, you go run it.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
And they say yes or no based on all the time. You give them the time estimate. Sometimes it's
the time
painful
estimate.
to watch when they go over.
Yeah.
Sometimes they smash it, but usually there's not even like... It's been pretty rare that you've gotten like world records at GDQs.
Well, yeah, world records are typically found on Twitch in the middle of the night. Someone is just grinding runs.
The pop off at 3 a.m. into Angry Neighbors.
Yeah. All right. That is all I think we're going to have time for this week. And by have time for, I mean I have literally nothing else to talk about. So unless...
We're all out of ideas and we're not coming up with more.
True. We're done with the coming up with new ideas thing.
Until next week, I think.
Yeah, I should be good for next week. It depends because of some personal life things that are related to the thing I told you about earlier, but that I'm not ready to go public yet. Maybe soon.
It's a secret. Tune in next week to find out if it's not a secret anymore.
It probably will be a secret for at least 2 or 3 weeks. I don't know when.
Even better. Tune in every week
until
from now
it
on to find out
happens.
when it becomes not a secret.
Well, like, because I don't want what I'm doing to reach what I'm currently doing.
Absolutely.
Because
I'm with you 100%. I get it.
yeah, bad things might happen. And I know that, like, no one watching this would even know. Okay, I'm done talking about it. Never mind.
Yeah, then you find out tomorrow that we have 10 million views. We have blown up overnight due to our hot takes on open world games.
I don't even know if our takes are lukewarm.
They're incredibly
at best.
lukewarm, yeah.
They're like,
all right, well, make
not-
sure to drop a follow on Twitch since you're here. Go over to any of those 4 links down in the bottom left of the screen. You can catch us on YouTube sometime when I remember to upload this. Probably Sunday night when I remember at the last minute of the weekend.
catch
We'll
us
upload
on-
to YouTube and Spotify. Follow us on Blue Sky. We post whenever we're going live. We post apologies when I forget to upload the videos, like episodes 1 and 3.
And at some point, we will get to Apple Music.
At some point, we will get to Apple Music. When verifying isn't a nightmare.
Oh, was that the problem?
It originally was, and then I think it just kind of fizzled from there, you know?
Okay, we'll have to revisit that sometime.
Absolutely. If you're a diehard Apple Music fan, let us know, and we will put more effort into getting onto Apple Music so we can reach you.
Well, my wife is a diehard Apple Music fan, and she said until
All right, we will
get
put
it on
more
there, until we get it on there, she's not going to listen.
Well, she'll have a backlog of 3 episodes to listen to, I think.
1 or 2,
1,
4, and 5.
2, 4, and 5.
Sweet. All right. Well, thank you all so much for coming this week. We appreciate you being here, and we are going to head out.